Ambassador Shringla, tell me about the situation in Bangladesh now. Did Sheikh Hasina miscalculate the anger that has spilt on the streets of Bangladesh's cities? Not just Dhaka this time, not just one university, but private universities and other cities too. Did she miscalculate the level of anger against the quota system?
To put it in perspective, this is not the first time that you've had student protests. I mean, even when I was High Commissioner in 2018, you had some fairly serious student protests. One protest was about road accidents, which was, I think, students were justified because there were a lot of traffic violations that resulted in the deaths of people, including students. The other was on the quota issue.
It traces back right up till the creation of Bangladesh with the Bhasha Andolan, which was
That's
also a
right.
student protest.
Well, it's the genesis of this is 1971 when they had to fight genocide and the Pakistani forces there. A lot of people died and a lot of people were part of that freedom movement. And much like our own freedom fighters, Bangladesh also gave certain special privileges to their freedom fighters. One of this was sort of quota for jobs to to them and their descendants. But 53 years down the line, students are saying that, it's been a fairly long time and you need to now rationalize this at a time of, high unemployment, economic difficulties. There has to be a more level playing field. So in 2018, you saw agitations which was for the removal of the quota system. The government saw the writing on the wall and agreed to actually do away with the entire quota system, which they started implementing. Earlier this year, some sections went to court and the High Court actually cancelled the government's decision to do away with the quota system. So that, I think, enraged the students and they went back into the protest mode. Government, on the other hand, says that, look, our views are not incompatible with ours. I mean, we are with you on this issue. That's why we abolished the quota system. And we have taken the matter, we have appealed the High Court decision in the Supreme Court. But the Supreme Court has to pronounce judgment on that. But you're right in saying that perhaps government did not gauge the sense of, I would say, in some senses, dissatisfaction at various levels that made it a much larger movement than it is. The students set out on their issues, but then it became a larger issue of governance and so on and so forth. But what actually, I think, made it a sort of a violent and more, a movement that actually cost a lot of lives and arson, etc., was the fact that other actors came into the game. And from what we can now see, this is a very planned move to infiltrate the student movement, to bring in cadres, by the opposition BNP, Bangladesh National Party, and the Jamaat-e-Islami, which is, like the Muslim Brotherhood. It is a radical Islamic grouping that is pro-Pakistan. So they were the ones who supported Pakistan in 1971, and their descendants today continue with that same policy. And their student wing, the Chhatra Shibir, also infiltrated the student movement. And the students, when they negotiated with government, were at pains to say that our protest is purely non-violent. We don't identify with any of those elements that are indulging in violence and arson. Those are not genuine student protesters. So there is a distinction between the two. But once this movement is happening and people from behind are indulging in violence and burning down, if you see today, the damage has been extensive. They've burned down 2 metro stations completely. They burnt a 4-story building of the Bangladesh Transport Corporation. They've burned down, post offices, police stations. They've also gone in a place called Narshingdi, freed, inmates. Some 860 inmates have been freed, including some who were wanted for Islamic terrorism. So some people involved with heinous crimes.
So there was ulterior motive, not just public anger.
Absolutely. So looting also meant looting the armory, so weapons, etc. And so it took a dangerous turn with these anti-national elements coming into the picture. And I think, if you see the social media space, there's a lot of misinformation and disinformation, and that continues to happen even today.
Even though internet was stopped for some time.
Exactly. But a lot of it is coming from abroad. because the Jamaat-e-Islami has a lot of its supporters who are outside, and a lot of these so-called political exiles, basically opportunists sitting in different part of the world, posting and blogging, are all essentially linked to the same larger
Ecosystem.
brotherhood, so to
Brotherhood,
speak.
huh.
And they are basically sophisticated Jamaatis, you can say. I mean, they're able to project a sophisticated image, lobby with governments in Western countries, project a certain case of human rights and violations, etc. But at the end of the day, they are hardcore radical Islamists.
Click here to watch the full episode.